As we are nearing the end of the season, it is time to recap the top transfers, the okay transfers, and the horrific transfers. In today's tier list, we're going to be recapping the top 25 most expensive transfers from last summer or the latest January window, and we're going to review, has it been a good move, a terrible move, a bad move? You guys can see the tier list. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Where would you rank these players? I'm also going to have two separate videos talking about my top 10 transfers of the season and the top 10 worst transfers of the season. So sit back and relax, get some food, get some drinks, and let's have a deep dive on these transfers. So Rutter to Brighton, it was a very, very expensive transfer for Brighton standards, right? If Brighton are going to spend money, it has to hit. 46 million for Rutter. Now, he's not really a striker. He's mostly been playing as like a number 10 behind João Pedro or Danny Welbeck. And I think Rutter has done well. I don't think it's been a terrible move. I don't think it's been a bad move. I think it just needs more time. And now he just sustained a season-ending injury, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to hamper his development with Brighton. I think he has the capabilities of becoming a very good player at Brighton. For now, I think he just needs more time. But you can see he's linked up play well with Minte, Mitoma, João Pedro. I think it's just been such a rotation for Brighton this season. New manager, a lot of new players. Defensively, I don't think they're greatest of teams. So Rutter, I think he just needs more time in this situation. Kilman, right now, it's a bad move. I mean, West Ham were 17th. It's not all his own fault, but Kilman cost 47 million euros. Where West Ham were expecting, all right, we got a decent center back here, Premier League experience. You know, they tried Todibo. They've tried so many different center backs. It hasn't worked out for West Ham. David Moyes was the manager. He got sacked. Obviously, now came in Graham Potter. But Kilman, I haven't seen a lot of his performances, so I can't say, oh, he's been terrible or he's been outstanding. From what I've seen from West Ham this season, and Kilman has been a part of it, it hasn't been good. I think Kilman, he's not the only fault in this whole situation. Dominic Solanke, I think people are very harsh on this player. Spurs have been a disaster this season, and that's not because of Solanke's fault. Spurs' expectation of Dominic Solanke is like Harry Kane, dropping deep, combining play. That's not Dominic Solanke's game. Dominic Solanke is a very good box striker. Inside the 18-yard box, he's deadly. If you wanted to play outside, combining play, 1-2s, no, look at all of his goals with Bournemouth, people. At Bournemouth, he was such an elite box striker. But at Spurs, I'm just seeing him press high up the field. I'm seeing him sometimes receive the ball out wide on the wing. I'm like, that's not Solanke's game. Now, he obviously was injured for 2 months this season, and it doesn't help. And he's only had 7 goals in the Premier League this season compared to the season before where he had 19 goals. But Spurs paid 65 million for him. Oh, some of these clubs really need to get some financial support and some scouting support. I don't think it's been Solanke's fault. I just think he needs more time. I think maybe he needs a different manager. And let's see if we can get the Solanke that we saw at Bournemouth. I don't think he's I don't think he can become an elite striker. Do I think he's been bad? Maybe in parts, yeah, but I haven't seen that have like horrific misses out there like he's Darwin Núñez or something. Dominic Solanke just needs time. Desiree Doué, good. Maybe if we're getting close to the end of the season and PSG make it to the Champions League final, banging move. But it's been a good move. I mean, he's got 5 goals, 6 assists, I think, in Ligue 1. We obviously see what he's been doing in the knockout stages of the Champions League, showing his talent. Now he's really benched Barcola. It's now basically him, Kvaratskhelia, and Dembele as the front three. I mean, Desiree Doué, wow, what a player he is. I mean, just the talent level is absurd. I think in a couple of years' time, this will be a banging move, and it will be like, wow, that's the sort of PSG transfer that kind of started this new era under the Qatari ownership. You know what? F it. Let's just move it to banging move because this guy is just elite. I knew he was a good player because I saw him at the Olympics. I was like, wait, who's this guy Stade Rennais? I didn't see much of it at Stade Rennais, but I saw him at the Olympics. I was like, oh, he's caught my eye here. Then we see he makes the big move to PSG. Obviously, he wasn't going to get starts because of all the talent that Luis Enrique has at his disposal. But over time this season, you've seen Desiree Doué just emerge more and more. And when he's been introduced into the starting lineup, he's taken his spot. So Barcola, now he's looking at the bench like, ugh, this ain't good. I got to now make an impact, which is a good thing for PSG. But for Desiree Doué, I mean, what a player he's going to be. Only 19 years old, cost 50 million from Stade Rennais. I think Desiree Doué, bang and move, and he's going to be so pivotal if PSG want to win this Champions League because they're going to win Coupe de France. They're going to beat Reims, if I'm not mistaken, in the Coupe de France final. They've already won Liga. Desiree Doué is going to be a key part if they truly want to win their first ever Champions League. And Matthias de Ligt, I actually don't think he's been bad. Would I say he's been good? No, I think he just needs more time. Look, it's going to be very difficult to rate some of the Manchester United players because they've been horrific. Whether it's with Eric Ten Hag, Amorim, obviously they were pretty good under Ruud, but then Ruud went to Leicester. I think De Ligt has actually been a somewhat, and I mean a somewhat bright spot. Obviously, did he make the move because of Ten Hag? Probably. That's why he inevitably made the move to Manchester United. But De Ligt has actually been a good spot. What Man United need to do for next season is De Ligt, Lenioro, and we'll see if Lisandro can stay healthy. If Lisandro can't stay healthy, then you got to find a third center back with that back three formation if you're Amorim and Manchester United. But I think De Ligt can be a pivotal piece to that. I don't think he's been bad. Maybe he had some struggles at the beginning of the season, but overall, he's not been terrible. I think he just needs more time at Manchester United. We'll see if he gets it because we know Man United fans, oh man, 1 week you're amazing, the next week you're a fraud. João Palhinha has been terrible. I don't think it's even a case that he needs more time. He's 29 years old, people. He's 29 years old. Made that big move to Bayern Munich, right? This was a big move for Palhinha. He wanted to make the move to Bayern Munich, 51 million, 29 years old. You're expected, all right, Palhinha, this is the moment that you've been asking for. You were a very good player at Fulham. Now you're going to Bayern Munich. You could sit next to Kimmich in that double pivot, Vincent Kompany ball. Perfect, Palhinha. Take it. Take the opportunity. Instead, obviously, he's had the injury, and then when he's played, it hasn't been good. He had a good performance, I remember, against Stuttgart at home. I was like, okay, that's a Palhinha that we have seen a lot over the last couple of years. But again, it's not been the Palhinha we've seen at Fulham. And now you're going to think to yourself, what do Bayern Munich do with Palhinha? Because you still got Pavlovic. Goretzka has improved this season, but can you trust Goretzka on a long-term basis? They've obviously re-signed Kimmich for a couple more years, so that's at least good for Bayern Munich. But what do you do with Palhinha? That's what I'm more fascinated by. I just think he's been terrible. Every performance I've seen him have, I remember there was a Bochum game, and I was like, what the heck is Palhinha moving there? Slow on the ball, pressing not good enough, late tackles. It's been a frustrating season for Palhinha. Does he need more time at Bayern Munich? Maybe, but it is Bayern Munich. If you're a bad player, they'll move you on. So what's going to be the case for Palhinha? What do you think, Bayern Munich fans? Do you think you should move on from Palhinha? Do you see him maybe making a move elsewhere? Or would you give him another season? I think they're going to trust in Pavlovic next season if he can stay healthy. And Palhinha, he might be a dead man walking at Bayern Munich. And yeah, he's been a terrible transfer overall. Nico Gonzalez needs more time. January transfer window. I don't think they needed to make this signing. Manchester City activated the release clause from Porto for Nico Gonzalez. Okay, you signed him because clearly you needed some cover in the midfield and you need some legs and someone who's comfortable on the ball. But Nico Gonzalez has had a couple of opportunities. I haven't seen much of Nico Gonzalez, if I'm going to be truly honest. Obviously, I saw him play at Porto. Now, for next season, when Rodri comes back, is Nico Gonzalez even going to play? I don't know if it's going to be the best of transfers, if I'm going to be honest. It could be a case where he's just going to sit on the bench. He'll get his opportunities maybe off the bench a couple of times, maybe start a couple of games. Maybe he needs more time. He could work in a double pivot next to Rodri, give Manchester City a bit more stability in defense because that's been a liability for them all overall this season. So Nico Gonzalez, let's give him more time and see what happens. Same thing with Lenioro. I think the kid made a horrible move going to Manchester United. He's obviously a talented player. 62 million euro transfer, 18 years old, needs time. You can see he's got the talent, but it's development. You're not going to get a gem like this immediately and be like, yep, this is going to be a good player. Lenioro needs time, needs game time. He's going to make mistakes. He's done that this season. But I wouldn't say like, oh, yeah, terrible transfer, bad transfer. Yeah, move him on. No, that's not going to be the case here with Lenioro. I see a good player there. He was so good at Lille. At 17 years old, very commanding defender, comfortable on the ball. I think he had a very good performance away to Lyon. I was like, that's the Lenioro I think we're going to see more of next season. But it's Manchester United. They've been a car crash this entire season. Lenioro needs time. Same thing with De Ligt. Julian Alvarez, bang and move, 10 out of 10. Atleti, it looked like they were going to win a trophy this season. Then it's kind of spiraled out of control. They're not going to win the league. They're out of the Champions League. They're out of the Copa del Rey. But a bright spot has been Julian. He's stepped up in the biggest moments possible. Champions League, against Barcelona. I just think Julian has been unbelievable. In a team where you look at Griezmann in 2025, it's not been the same Griezmann that we saw at the later stages of 2024. But yet, Julian keeps performing. He keeps performing. And this is something that now Diego Simeone and Julian can build upon for next season. With maybe Griezmann moving on, okay, who are you going to pair next to Julian to get the best out of him? Will Julian change his role more as like a false number 9 and then Sorloth maybe as the main striker, or will Atleti go and sign another striker? There's going to be so many interesting details with Atleti over the summer, but Julian, I bang and move. Even though he cost a ridiculous amount of money for Atleti, 75 million euros, I still think he's been excellent. He's worth the money. You've seen it at River Plate. You've seen it at Manchester City. You've seen it at the Selección for Argentina. The guy is a baller, and he will continue to be a baller. And hopefully in the future, he can help Atleti lift some silverware because he deserves it. He's won everywhere he's been at, people. Everywhere. Is this actually his first trophyless season of his career? I think it might be, which is crazy, by the way, for Julian Alvarez. Amadou Onana. I wouldn't say he's been bad. Would I say he's been good? He's had a couple of injuries this season, and there's so much competition now in the Aston Villa midfield, like Tielemans, Boubacar Kamara, John McGinn. Like, there's so much. Like, if you're Onana, you have to be excellent every game to start next to a Tielemans, because Tielemans is like the certified midfielder for Unai Emery's team. Good player. I don't think he's like a spectacular midfielder. Yeah, he obviously costs like, what, 50 million from Everton, actually almost 60 million euros for Amadou Onana, which is crazy. I mean, so again, like, Amadou Onana is a good player. He's not 60 million euros. It's just the inflation that we've seen with transfers over the years. I wouldn't say he's been bad. He's dealt with injuries. He's not going to probably start in the key games in the end of the season. Maybe he could start in the FA Cup semifinals and be a key player there. But Amadou Onana maybe needs more time. Maybe next season we could see him and Tielemans be like the certified and the go-to midfield for Unai Emery. But yeah, I think he's been a decent transfer. Just needs more time. Same thing with Endrick. I think people are very, very harsh on this kid. Very harsh. He's had limited minutes this season, people. And yet he's still scoring goals and goals and goals. People just want to hyper criticize this player. Same thing with Vitor Roque. When Vitor Roque was struggling at Barcelona, criticism over and over again. The kid is 18 years old. Give him time. Like, we've seen it over and over again. Countless examples this season. Dembele to other players where they're not flourishing immediately from the get-go at 18, 19 years old. We're going back in dinosaur ages, people. Early 2000s, late 90s, early 90s. When you're 22, 23, you're going to see the talent right there. Takes a couple of years to reach that potential, and then you can be an elite player. I think that's going to be the thing for Endrick. He needs more time. Has there been a terrible transfer as of now? No, it hasn't. It hasn't even been bad because he's had limited minutes. Carlo hasn't trusted him, and yet when he's appeared, he has scored the goals. It's been overall a frustrating season for Endrick. I think he wants to have more game time. Does he need to maybe have a loan somewhere? Possibly. Could we see like a loan to, I don't know, let's give a good example. A loan to Real Sociedad, for example. I think that would do well for Endrick. Sevilla, I would say, but they're a car crash at the moment, so don't go to that toxic environment. I think a loan move to Real Sociedad, get some confidence going. There's your move, Endrick. Just to see and show the talent that you have at your disposal. Good player. Olise, bang and move. I think this is going to be a home run for the next couple of years. We could probably see Olise. I don't want to put that pressure on him because he's still young. Well, with the way he's moving at Bayern Munich, I think Bayern Munich have stolen a player here. I really, really do. He costs 53 million euros, people. In a world where we see crazy fees for Antony, Modric, and these sort of players, Olise was a very good player at Crystal Palace. You could just see maybe in 1 or 2 seasons, he's going to take that next step and be an elite player in this world. He's already shown it at Bayern Munich. And Bayern Munich got a player for the next 5 years, 6 years. I think he can go down as like a Robin style of legend. Now, Bayern Munich's team is not complete, and I still think there's some missing pieces. But Olise is going to be a key part for them to get back to winning the Champions League and being the most dominant team possible in Europe. But Olise's got the talent, people. He's shown it over and over again. Chance creation, assists, goals. Give him a couple more years. It's going to be unbelievable at Bayern Munich. Unstoppable. All Bayern Munich need. They got Harry Kane, Jamal Musiala, Olise. They just need that left wing position, but they got now the right wing position sorted for the next 5 years. Let's say 5 years, people. Olise, bang and move. Moussa Diaby, I can't say much because I don't watch the Saudi Pro League, so I'm not going to come here and say, oh yeah, he's been good. I don't know. So let's see what his stats are saying in the Saudi Pro League. And if there's anybody watching the Saudi Pro League, please let me know. Has Moussa Diaby been good? He's got 3 goals and 13 assists in the league so far this year. In the Cup, he's got 3 appearances, 0 goals, and they're not playing in the AFC Champions League this year. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he is the leading assister in the league. If I'm not mistaken, I think he is leading the league in assists. Yeah, I think so. 13 assists. So Moussa Diaby, clearly by the stats, he's been performing. Him and Benzema, it looks like they're having a good time at Al Ittihad. let's just give it a good move. And if you're talking about money, I mean, Al Ittihad paid 60 million euros for him, so that's a crazy amount of money. Let's just go with good move. I don't know. I'm going to give the credit to Moussa Diaby, and let's see how Saudi Pro League fans will react to it. Just let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Koopmeiners, oh boy. I don't know. Should I put it bad or terrible? I just think overall, yeah, let's go with terrible. Let's have a deep dive on Koopmeiners here. Made the big money move to Juventus. He was waiting all summer, 55 million euros to go to Juventus. He was projected to play in the number 10 role for Thiago Motta. That you can just see that role is not for him. What he was so good at Atalanta was late runs into the box, crashing the box, edge of the 18-yard box where he gets a shot off, first time, boom. He wasn't a creative number 10 player. If Juventus fans thought they were getting that, I think Juventus fans knew what they were getting. They were getting a goal-scoring midfielder. His goals have not been there. His performances have been terrible. Even when he gets the ball at the edge of the box, he's been struggling to even get a shot on target. I mean, sometimes he sent it back to Bergamo with the shots from Turin. It's been terrible this season. There was expectation. Koopmeiners is not this young player. He's been touted as the next big thing. 26 years old. He knows the league. He's been playing in Serie A for a long time. He should be at Juventus. Dream move. Now I'm going to show my true talent here. I'm going to prove to Atalanta why they've been stalling me all summer not to make this move. Atalanta said, okay, go, buddy. We'll get the money. You're going to be another Papu Gomez or some other players that Rasmus Højlund who just make the move away from Atalanta and they don't work out. And Koopmeiners is looking like he's going to be that sort of player. I don't think Juventus are going to move on from him. If you're going to choose one of the two, and we're going to talk about the other midfielder soon, you're probably going to keep Koopmeiners. But for the money, the expectation, it's been terrible. He's been terrible. I don't know what Juve are going to do. If Tudor is going to keep playing with him or if they're going to go in a totally different direction. Because now Juventus are playing in a back five formation with Tudor. All right, then you have Thuram and Locatelli in the midfield, which I think really complements each other well. Then you have kind of like two wingers or two number 10s. You could play Yildiz or whoever is going to play on the other side. It could be Koopmeiners, which could then, I think, benefit his style of play. He obviously played in a back five at Atalanta. But overall this season, we've just seen a player struggle at the pressure that is Juventus. Atalanta is just a nice place to play at. No pressure. You got Gasperini. Everything's good. When you go to Juventus, the pressure goes there. You have to perform. If you don't, you're off. And that's what happened to Koopmeiners. Calafiori, this is a tough one, you know. Has he been good or has he been bad or does he need more time? I can't lie. When I watch him defend, obviously, he scored crucial goals. Remember that goal he scored at the Etihad against Manchester City? Crazy goal from Calafiori. But I've seen him defend a couple times this season in one-on-one situations out wide, and he hasn't looked good. Now, going forward, Calafiori, I think, is a very good player. Kind of reminds me of Gvardiol. I think Gvardiol is better, though, defensively than Calafiori. Calafiori, if you're asking him to defend in one-on-one situations out wide as a left back, this season he's been struggling. I wouldn't say he's a bad transfer. I just think he's been bad this season. I think he can improve and improve, you know, compared to like Timber. Timber this season, elite. Such a good defender. Underrated going forward. Calafiori, very good going forward. You have question marks defensively. I think Calafiori would work as a center back. As a left back, no, that's not his position. You can see, though, Calafiori's not going to start for Arsenal because there's Luiz Skelly. And Luiz Skelly is a monster, an absolute monster. So is this a bad transfer? Maybe I'm being harsh. You could say I'm being harsh. I just don't think this is going to work out. And I think it's going to be a bad transfer over the years because you're going to see Luiz Skelly really solidify that position for Arsenal. I don't want to take anything away from Calafiori. I still think he's a quality player, but maybe he just went too quickly with the move from Bologna to Arsenal. Maybe everybody got hyped up. They saw the long hair at the Euros. They saw him ball playing, but if you watch him at Bologna, even then he was struggling in one-on-one defensive situations. I still think he can rectify his career at Arsenal and turn out to be a good player. But for now, maybe I'm being harsh. You let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Olmo and Marmush, I would say, is a good move. I think he's going to be an awesome transfer at Manchester City. Now, granted, Manchester City paid 75 million for him from Eintracht Frankfurt to Man City. When he's had a good game, oh man, he's been by far the best player on the field. He's had some bad misses, but overall this season, you can see Doku's not getting games, Savinho's being benched. So it's really now Olmo and Marmush, Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden. That's what Pep has kind of been his go-to lineup for the rest of this season until Haaland comes back. Now, I don't know what Marmush's future is going to be with Man City heading into next summer. Is he going to be like a left winger? We could probably see that for Man City, but I think he has been a good transfer. Remember that hat-trick he scored against Newcastle? Elite goals. Absolutely just... The guy is so good technically, but he can definitely get to that banging move. I think next season could be a banging move. But overall, his time so far at Man City, I think it's been good. And yeah, we'll go with the good section for him. Kvara, God, man, I love this player so much. Guys, there's like a love story. There's Romeo and Juliet. There's Michael and Kvara. Because Kvara, my favorite player in the world. I think this is going to be an awesome transfer. Yeah, you can talk about, Liga. Okay, we just saw what he did in the Champions League. He was very good against Liverpool. Even though he didn't get a goal or an assist in that game, he was still so dangerous on the ball in one-on-one situations. And then Aston Villa happened, and the rest is history, as they say. When you're sending an elite player like Kvara from Napoli to PSG, the level goes there. The competition. Desiree Doué has to get better. Barcola has to get better. Gonzalo Ramos, Dembele, all of these players have to get better. And with Kvara coming into the squad, maybe Kvara can be the difference for PSG winning the Champions League. You know, PSG were playing well before they signed him, but when they signed him, they got to the next step of being a very dangerous team. Kvara is going to be a banging transfer. I know Kvara cost 70 million, but when you think about the likes of Nico Gonzalez, Moussa Diaby, Amadou Onana, all of these players cost like 5-10 million less than Kvara. Kvara was Serie A player 2 seasons ago. Player of the season. And PSG got him? PSG, take a bow, man. They got an elite player for the next couple of years. I'm so jealous. I'm very, very jealous. Douglas Luiz. Oh, boy. The less said, the better. Maybe the transfer was all about the couple, the power couple, you know? There's like Khloe Kardashian and what was that guy's name? The center from the Cleveland Cavaliers. I can't remember his name anymore because he was an average center in the NBA. There's the power couples in all sports. David Beckham, Victoria Beckham. And then there's Douglas Luiz and Elisa Lemon. Now, did Juventus just make this transfer so they can get all the wonderful social media interactions and clicks and we can get the TikToks and the Instagrams? Who knows? Because Douglas Luiz this season has been terrible. He might be the worst transfer in Serie A this year. He might be the worst. Obviously, Emerson Royal. We knew before, and he was a garbage player at Spurs, and he's shown it at AC Milan. Same thing with Alvaro Morata. Terrible player. You could go to Dovbyk. I think Dovbyk's actually been quite decent for AS Roma. But Douglas Luiz, who was a very good player at Aston Villa, very good. Let's not take anything away. Let's not be revisionist and say, oh, he was never good at Aston Villa. Douglas Luiz was a good player at Aston Villa. And the fact that Juventus spent 51 million for him, and he has not been good at all. He can't bench Weston McKennie, Thuram, Locatelli, you name it. He can't bench these players. Juventus sacrificed Fagioli and these sort of guys. But Fagioli is better than Douglas Luiz this year. There's already rumors they want to move him on. They don't want him anymore at Juventus. So where's Douglas Luiz going to go? Probably back to the Premier League. Can Juventus get like 30, 35 million for him? Most likely. But what has gone wrong for Douglas Luiz? I just think his level has been poor. Now, he's dealt with an injury this season, which obviously could hamper his development at Juventus, but he's in a similar situation as Koopmeiners. Both were 26. This is no time to develop, right? You're 26 years old. This is the prime years of your career. You have to perform if you're Douglas Luiz, if you're Koopmeiners. And these two players have not performed for Juventus. And I think Douglas Luiz has struggled. 8, 6, you name it, played in the double pivot. His passing has been off, bullied off the ball. It's just not been good for Douglas Luiz. And maybe he just needs to transfer away from Serie A, needs to transfer away from Juventus, go back to the Premier League. I don't know, maybe go to like Wolves or West Ham, one of those clubs. Maybe that will work out for Douglas Luiz. But his time at Juventus, it's over. And it's been a terrible transfer. He will undoubtedly go down as one of the worst transfers in Juventus' history. No doubt about it, because he's just not performed. And there was some hype about him. You know, you're getting a good player from Aston Villa, helped Aston Villa get to the Champions League. And yet, you're saying Aston Villa now, they're still thriving. They still got Boubacar Kamara, Tielemans, they're playing well. And then you're just seeing Douglas Luiz just rotting on the bench at Juve. It's been terrible. It's been terrible for Douglas Luiz. He's a good player, but it just hasn't worked out, Juventus. Sometimes that can happen, people. Pedro Neto, bad. Pedro Neto cost from Wolves to Chelsea 60 million euros. And he has not been good. He has a grand total, people, in the Premier League. 3 goals, 4 assists. No goal. He's got 1 goal in the League Cup, and in the Conference League, he's got 1 goal and 3 assists. That's not good for a player that you paid 60 million for. 60 million. There was that highlight moment of his goal against Arsenal, and then he's doing like this. Oh, where's the critics? Bro, you cost 60 million. You're 24 years old. You're not a Mudryk, a Madueke, an Estevao next season. You're not a young player where, oh, I just need time, guys. Just give me time. Pedro Neto, you are an experienced player in the Premier League. You've been at Wolves for a couple of years now. You should be performing immediately at Chelsea. They're expecting performance when they're paying 60 million for you. I don't think a lot of clubs would have been happy with Pedro Neto. But when you've seen his performances, you're like, this guy can't cross. His decision making is poor. I don't know if it's just Chelsea overall with Maresca, where it's such like let's just keep possession, rotate, and then crosses into the box, where Nico Jackson isn't really like a box striker. Nico Jackson wants to link up play. But Pedro Neto, I think he has struggled tactically, but overall his play has just not been good. And then he's just giving it to the fans where he's not performed. And then he's like, oh, after one goal, you should all love me. No, you should be performing week in and week out. We haven't seen that from Pedro Neto. I think he's been a bad transfer. 60 million euros. Mbappe. Now, obviously, Mbappe was not one of the more expensive transfers because obviously he was a free transfer. But I just had to add him onto this list because it is Kylian Mbappe. And I'm going to go with, you know what? Do I go? No, I'll go Bang and Move. I still think this transfer is going to be good. It's just one season where he's still scored a lot of goals, people. Like, he's still in the race for the Pichichi. Yeah, he's had a decent season. Considering all the criticism, and rightfully so, because Mbappe is one of the best players in the world, you're expecting to see him immediately fire. But we've seen as the season has transpired with Real Madrid, it's been chaotic. It's just no fluidity with the team. Maybe Mbappe would work better on the left wing compared to as a striker role, but he's had some good performances. Everybody's going to talk about the debacle in the El Clasico, the first one this season. Yeah, it wasn't good because he was offside, 7-8 times? I mean, come on, Mbappe, you can't do that. But he did score a hat-trick against Manchester City in the Champions League to get Real Madrid into the round of 16. Maybe it's not a banging transfer. Maybe it's a good transfer. For now, at least. I think next season, though, it's going to be an excellent transfer. First season at Madrid, it sometimes doesn't work out, people. Let's compare Mbappe to Eden Hazard's first season at Real Madrid. Okay, yeah, let's not comparison there. Cristiano, he had a good season, first season at Real Madrid. It wasn't excellent. He obviously was dealing an injury that year. And Mbappe, I think he could have, like, this season, you've seen the struggles. Next year, heading into the World Cup, we're going to see the real Mbappe, I believe. Now, we'll see what sort of lineup. We'll see if Real Madrid are going to change over the summer. But Mbappe has been good this season, and he's been a good transfer. Same thing with Dani Olmo. I think he's been a really good transfer. I wouldn't say a banging transfer. Dani Olmo, it's just going to be the case of his career. Such a talented player. You can just see when he plays for Barcelona, the link of play. It's kind of different with him and Fermin Lopez, and I think that's the wonderful thing about this Barcelona team is that they can just attack you in so many different ways. Whereas Dani Olmo wants to link up play with Rafinha, with Lewandowski, with Pedri, with Lamine Yamal. And when he's on the field, quality, man. The footballing IQ that Dani Olmo has is wonderful to watch. I remember I went to go see the home game against Real Sociedad. I was like, wow, Dani Olmo is just balling out there. He was so good. But then injuries and injuries and injuries. And that's sadly, I think, going to be the case of Dani Olmo's career. If he could just have a fully fit season, could he get like 15 goals and 10 assists with this Barca team? Yeah, he could, because that's how good he is. And considering that him, Pedri, De Jong, midfield, footballing-wise, is the best I think Barcelona could field and in the starting 11. But Dani Olmo has been a good transfer, but that's been the case of Dani Olmo throughout his career. Injuries, but still a good transfer nonetheless. Next up is Yon Duran. Now, Yon Duran is the most expensive transfer this season in football. 77 million from Aston Villa to Al Nassr. And he needs more time. He just needs more time. Obviously, he had that second game or third game where he scored that ridiculous solo goal. I think it was against Al Hilal. It might have been Al Hilal or Al Ittihad. People, you got to remind me of which game it was. And Yon Duran, like the kid, he's a kid, people. 21 years old. He's built like Mark Henry from WWE, but he's a kid still, 21 years old. He needs more time. I think going to Al Nassr, learning under Cristiano is going to help Yon Duran highly. Now, people can be critical of Yon Duran. Oh, why are you going to the Saudi Pro League? You shouldn't be doing that. You're going to be a prime striker in Europe. Why shouldn't he go to Saudi Pro League, people? He can still learn under Cristiano. He's getting life-changing money for him and his family. And Yon Duran, he can ball out in the Saudi Pro League 2 to 3 years, and make a move back to Europe. But so far for Al Nassr, he's got 5 goals in 8 appearances in the Saudi Pro League. And in the AFC Champions League, he's got 3 appearances and 2 goals. So not bad, but I did see some criticism over the last couple of weeks because he's not been as clinical as before. So yeah, Duran, he just needs more time. He's a very, very good player. Next player, João Neves. Baller, man. Well, like, we got 3 PSG transfers. Remember in the past where there was like the Sergio Ramos, the Messi, Gini Wijnaldum, these sort of transfers? Okay, maybe Messi was a bit harsh in saying he was a flop, but Gini Wijnaldum, Sergio Ramos, they were not good transfers for PSG. Look at the evolution of this club. Look at the evolution of how they are building this team. João Neves, serious ball. How much did he cost, people? João Neves cost 60 million euros. The same as Pedro Neto, Nico Gonzalez, Leny Yoro, cheaper than Solanke, same price as Amadou Onana, Daniel Olmo. Koopmeiners was 5 million less, but you see the absolute just gem of a midfielder. João Neves could do everything. Defensively solid. For his height, how good he is defensively, aerial ability, still strong at it, passing ability, hands creation. João Neves is the complete package. He is the Swiss Army knife for the PSG midfield. Vitinha is the conductor, gets the game flowing wonderfully for PSG from side to side, direct. But João Neves is that killer sort of midfielder that I think PSG needed to complement Vitinha. And they got it. And João Neves is going to be a brilliant signing for them. And he's going to be a pivotal reason why they have done so well this season. I just love João Neves. I think he's a banging move. Let's see how he's going to do for the next couple of years under PSG. I mean, PSG are sorted in the midfield. Wires Emery, Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, João Neves. There you go. You're set now for the next couple of years if you're a PSG fan, and João Neves is a key reason why. Next one up is Galeno. Now, I have no clue how this transfer is going. I have not seen a single minute of him at Al Ahly. Now, Galeno cost 50 million euros from Porto to Al Ahly, but in his 9 appearances in the Saudi Pro League, 2 goals, 2 assists. Not too bad there. AFC Champions League, 4 appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists. So, yeah, it's not been terrible. It's not been good. Does he need more time? Possibly. Yeah, but he's not like a young player either. Galeno is like 27 years old. So you're expecting, if you're Al Ahly, to get a starting player immediately. So if Al Ahly want to win the AFC Champions League, yeah, Galeno is going to have to be a key part of it next to Mahrez, Kessie, and Firmino. So, yeah, I think he just needs more time. Let's just put him next to Duran, needs more time. It's just very difficult for me to, like, give a proper analysis of his time at Saudi Pro League because I haven't seen him play. I honestly, I'm not going to stay here and say, yeah, he's been a very good transfer. I'm literally just going by stats, people. Just by stats, needs more game time. Yeah, Moussa Diaby, though, he's got 13 assists, so that's been good. Ugarte is an interesting one for Manchester United. Has he been bad? I see a lot of criticism from Manuel Ugarte. Oh, my God, this guy can't pass. He doesn't know how to look forward. All he does is just pass backwards and sideways. I mean, Ugarte is in such a difficult situation at Manchester. It is so... he obviously dealt with an injury as well this season. But for me, it's very difficult to, like, analyze these Manchester United players because they've gone through a formation change. They've gone through different managers, different tactics. But I would expect a little bit better from Ugarte. He's worked with Amorim at Sporting. He didn't work out at PSG. PSG got back the money they paid for Ugarte at Sporting and said, here's Manchester United, take Ugarte. Take him. They said, okay, we'll take him. You expect kind of better performances overall, I would say. I think Ugarte, he's not going to be a flashy player. He's not going to dictate the midfield. Ugarte is a ball winner. He can actually pass, unlike what Manchester United fans say. I think he's in a difficult situation, but if you want to overall grade his time at Manchester United, yeah, you have to say it's bad. They paid 60 million euros for him. I think Leny Yoro is a bit like, okay, the future sort of signing. But Ugarte, he cost 50 million euros. So I'm like, okay, you got a good player here who's got experience, 23 years old. He should be heading into his prime. It's been far less than that, if you ask me, for Manuel Ugarte. Bad transfer as of now. I think next season, though, for Manchester United, I think we can see a good Ugarte. Pair him next to a Koopmeiners in the midfield. Maybe Manchester United will see their performances be even better. But overall this season, it hasn't been the Ugarte that we saw at Sporting. And even at PSG, that was a terrible transfer. I think this transfer has been bad. I don't think it's been terrible. There's been some bright spots for Ugarte. But overall, as a package, yeah, it's been bad. I still think the player is a good player. I just think Manchester United fans are very critical of him. And then João Felix, yeah. This might be the worst transfer this year. I don't know what else to say, people. 52 million from Atletico Madrid to Chelsea. It was so bad that after 6 months, they loaned him to AC Milan. So bad. And even at AC Milan, this guy is terrible. I don't know what the future... that might have to be like a whole separate video on what is the future for João Felix? Is it a move to like a Galatasaray, a Fenerbahce, a Saudi Pro League? Because I see no future for him at Chelsea. I really don't. I don't think he's a left wing. Can't play on the right wing. He's not like a second striker. João Felix is a traditional number 10. And yeah, you could say, oh, Michael, there's no like styles of football where they're playing with the natural number 10. I get it. I understand it. But João Felix has been terrible. And he was terrible at Chelsea. I rated the player highly from Benfica. But what I saw at Atleti was a player who didn't want to learn, didn't work for his team, and just thought talent could do everything. The talent could overwork everything. You have to develop as a player. João Felix has simply not done it. And we cannot say, oh, he needs more time like other Chelsea players. Same thing as like Pedro Neto. You're 24 years old. Chelsea have been buying 21 years old, 20 years old, 19 years old, and thinking, okay, in the future they'll be better, like a Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez. But then they buy players like a Pedro Neto, João Felix, and you're expecting to see immediate performances. We haven't seen that with João Felix. He might be the worst transfer this season. Let me know your thoughts, people. Do you think João Felix or Douglas Luiz is the worst transfer, or Palhinha? Which of those three is the worst transfer in football this season? But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, people. Where would you rank these transfers amongst this tier list? Would you rank Endrick as a bad transfer, or Rutter a bad transfer? Do you think Calafiori needs more time, or do you think he's been a good transfer? And who has been the worst transfer this season in football? And soon coming up is the top 10 transfers of the football season and the top 10 worst transfers of the football season. So if you like that sort of content, remember to subscribe to the channel. Remember to hit the like button on this video. Remember to follow me on all the socials. Links to those, description down below. But have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. Till next time. Adios.